And good morning. I'm your friend Scotty Ray. It is already Thursday morning, January the 8th. Let it be known that we do know that it's Elvis's birthday. Very important day in the South, anyway, that is. The man who took rock and roll to the world. A legend, without a doubt, and started all here in Mississippi. We should never forget that. Hope you're doing well as we move into the 60-degree mark. We're finally out of the 50s this morning. We're sitting at 61 as we wait for a high. I believe it's going to be somewhere around 76 today. Expect it to be cloudy, and it is extremely foggy once again. Watch where you're going. We had several incidents yesterday morning due to the fog, and it could easily happen again. So y'all be on safeguard as you head out this morning, no matter where you're going, crossing four-lane highways or at stop signs. School buses are rolling as they will be. They're already out this morning. Be cautious, be careful. So much to talk about this morning that's in the headlines. A few things we'll learn together that I wasn't aware of that, well, you need to know. We've got that headline shaping America on the way. Let's go down to Collinsville. Let's get our first taste of the good word. Let's go out to Collinsville First Baptist.
Have you ever known anyone who lived in constant fear of losing control over something? People who live with this kind of fear can live miserable lives. Their fear of losing control can cause them to do irrational things to protect their power. This is how it was with Herod when he learned that Jesus had been born. He wanted to have Jesus killed because he looked at Jesus as an eventual threat to his rule as king. Herod was ruthless and lived in constant fear of someone overthrowing him and taking his throne. It says in Matthew 2:16 through 18, when Herod realized that he had been outwitted by the Magi, he was furious, and he gave orders to kill all the boys in Bethlehem and its vicinity who were 2 years old and under, in accordance with the time he had learned from the Magi. Then that was what was said through the prophet Jeremiah was fulfilled. A voice heard in Ramah, weeping and great mourning, Rachel weeping for her children and refusing to be comforted because they are no more. This is the world Jesus came into. It was a dangerous world, a sinful world. And this voice heard in Ramah, weeping and great mourning, was the result of someone's sin. God the Father was fully aware of the sinfulness of the world. The brutality of someone like Herod didn't catch God off guard. In fact, God sent Jesus into our sinful world to redeem those who were in bondage to sin. Jesus would eventually die a cruel death on a cross. But as brutal as his death was, it was through his death that he would pay the debt for our sin. The latter part of Hebrews 2:9 says, he suffered death so that by the grace of God he might taste death for everyone. Jesus died for our sins. If you believe in him today, your sins will be forgiven, and you can have eternal life in heaven. Consider your sinful condition today, and know that you can have new life in Jesus Christ. Change begins in you.
The Change Begins in You is brought to you in part by Piggly Wiggly of Collinsville, Patrick Allen Companies, Mitchell Tire and Wrecker in Collinsville, and Mowdy Cabinetry.
And welcome back. I am your friend Scotty Ray. It is already 6:35 as we embark on this morning. Lots to do this morning during the morning show that we will cover. That begins at 7. All local headlines begin then. Odie will be joining me for that show as well. If there's one thing in this world that I am, it's very patriotic. I'm red, white, and blue through and through. I believe in the United States. We were all fortunate enough way down on our end of the country to be born in the South. You learn a lot about family. Getting things done on your own, being from the rural route. And as I watch things from larger cities, sometimes it makes my skin crawl that someone doesn't care as much about our country as I do, and as you do. It bothers me to no end. Have you ever heard, and I'm going to show her a picture here. She is a state senator from Nebraska. Her name is McCalla, I'm having trouble with this, Convey? Possibly there. She was born in 79. Now, this is a picture. Kavanaugh. I said that wrong, didn't I? Yeah, Kavanaugh. Got it corrected there. But there's a picture of her. Why am I showing her this morning? Miss Kavanaugh has been caught on video at the Nebraska State Capitol, walking down the halls. And this video out there, you can watch any of it, ripping down the posters of the 250th celebration of our country. They've already got it display set up in there, and she's just going down through there ripping them down. Does she not like our country? Why would she do this? It's puzzling, and it's just not right how, especially an elected official, would do something like this. It bothers me. In other news, and I think I've done these statistics for you before of what the average American who's worked most of their lives and their Social Security checked, whether you work 25, 35, 40, 50 years and then went into retirement, your Social Security check. Average monthly payment is about $1,250 for an American who's paid in that money all of their life. Then you do the numbers on someone who's entered our country illegally and getting assistance, $3,850 a month. That's not just made up, that's fact. Something's wrong here. Our elected officials need to fix that. You've heard me talk about James Wood before. He's an actor. Pretty good old boy. Is he famous beyond? No, but he is a conservative down the middle. And he brought this up, and I watched the clip to make sure it was right. AOC. She had done a interview with Jesse Waters on Fox News. And I'm not sure the exact question that he asked her, but she claimed to a producer of Fox News that Jesse had sexualized and harassed her on his show. All he did was ask her questions that she needed to answer. James Wood says there's a lawsuit coming. You can't accuse somebody of something they didn't do. It probably not, but Jesse didn't do anything. I don't quite get it. Lindsey Graham sending a strong message to Iran, the Ayatollah. Lindsey Graham is letting them know if they don't stop the death of Christians, Donald will remove the Ayatollah. And when he says remove, it doesn't mean in handcuffs. Let that be a warning. Yeah, very, very few presidents have stood for Christianity as we have now. Now, am I going to tell you that he does everything right? Nope. Am I going to tell you that he makes some Americans mad? Yes, he is. And he's probably said something that most Americans didn't agree with. But overall, he does stand for things that matter of Christianity and things of that. He has taken a stand here. He's warned them. We'll see where this goes. Hilton, as we look at have y'all been paying attention to the hotel that refused to let ICE agents stay the night, DHS, Homeland Security agents stay at the hotel? They were got onto by the chain, and then a reporter goes in and basically, in an undercover move, wants to rent some rooms. Says, I want 10 rooms. Tells them that he's with DHS, and they refuse to sell him or rent him rooms for the night. They have now cut all ties with that hotel after they've done this. I have to give them kudos for doing the right thing on that. They have been cut from their chain of hotels. That was the right thing to do. What happens when you lose your phone?
You panic.
Most people do panic. What happens when you're an official from Japan that has official data on it that could be harmful to your country? Do you wait 3 days before you tell anybody and you can't turn it off while visiting China? They have got problems. They don't know if the information that was confidential to Japan was leaked or not. They were in an airport at a security check when the phone come up missing. They knew who he was. It's not like a phone was picked up in a bathroom, no one knew who it was, and they walked away with it. He lost it where you put your belongings in that little thing that slides through. I'm going to bet China knows a lot of things today.
Yeah.
But it's always best, even in the worst of times when you face something bad, to admit it. Do you remember us talking New York yesterday, Mendami, the lady that took over the housing things? Boy, things are not looking good for this. They're going back at this point, and she's since deleted it, but it was a rush of people going to her Twitter account and copying what she had said. She had said in one of her posts that she wanted to seize private property from Americans. It's not going over well in New York. She's also the one that said that about owning property. You remember that? And then come to find out that her mama had a home. It's not really not going well for her. But all of her past social remarks are coming forward. And I warn you, no matter what you put, that stuff is out there. If you get mad at somebody, it's best just cool down for a minute. Don't put remarks that can be used against you later. Just think it through, calm down, and then you'll come to your senses. But if you ever post something negative like that about someone, it comes back to haunt you years later, especially if you're in the political world. Just remember all of that. I looked over this 2 to 3 times to make sure that I was right on this. A healthcare company that is in Minnesota. Guess who has ownership in it? Oh, it's going to shock you. And I'd say his name, but I probably couldn't say it correctly because it's about a mile long. But I can tell you where he works, and that will be all you need to know. Again, he owns a portion or a part of a healthcare company in Minnesota. He's a current member of Somalia's parliament. That really makes you go, in light of everything that's going on in Minnesota at this time. And yes, we're going to get to what's the big thing that's happening in Minnesota here in just a few moments. This is one of the few governors that I have seen stand up and go, y'all, hang on just a minute. He may be right. We do know that jobs are going to be lost because of this. AI. This thing is, and we probably don't know everything that AI is capable of at this moment. But it's cleaning newsrooms out nationwide. It's making videos on its own. They look pretty close to it, and you have to stare at some of it. It's also, for people who can't sing, well, it's doing music now also. But, again, as I back up and say, who's the governor that's going, y'all hang on, and that would be Florida. He's very skeptic of it, DeSantis. He's not exactly wanting it in the state of Florida at this point. Now, again, with it comes a lot of money, and it will be a lot of money brought to our area eventually. Will they last? I don't know. Will they come up with a different way to fuel these things? Possibly. But they will take a lot of electricity. They will take a lot of water. And the odds are, well, I don't have the data for Lauderdale County. There's other counties that's going to be affected. But it most likely, in the long run, will affect both of those, electric and water bills, because it's going to be consuming so much. Now, again, that's most likely going to happen. And then the question is, and I'm sure you've seen this article floating around, that possibly the worst deal ever made in Lauderdale County. Again, I haven't studied it enough to dive deep into this, but there was a study released on that, and I think most of you have read that. We'll dive into that as soon as we have time and to make sure we have everything accurate on that. But we do know that with this will come some tax money. We certainly hope that officials use this wisely and don't waste this and by buying extra stuff. If there is tax money, let's get out of debt. Let's take care of what we've already spent that we couldn't afford. There's several things I know that you're sitting there thinking, rushing through your mind of where we're extended and property taxes keep going up. Let's pay those bills down to where these things aren't that high. On the other hand, you'll have somebody say, well, if we pay those off, what I'm getting at, it would cut the property tax down and not bring in as many tax dollars is where I was going with that. If property taxes are cut, wouldn't have as much to spend. But the average worker has got to have a relief in our area. And I urge those officials to look at this strongly. Pay off our debt. Use this money wisely when it does come. It's not going to be tomorrow that we get it. So let's not spend what we don't have. Said simple enough, I think. As we get into, well, that's a cute story. We'll come back to that. As we're getting close on time, let me move over and talk about what happened in Minneapolis yesterday. We all know this. If you've seen any headline news or anything that's going on, an ICE agent shot and took out someone in a vehicle yesterday. And there's protest already beginning. Y'all know that. With that being said, have you watched it? Definitely, the vehicle was going to be used as a way to hurt someone. I feel, in my personal opinion, that the agent done exactly what he should have. We've had a couple things that have already been said about this. We have J.D. Vance that has come out and said, I want every ICE officer to know that the president, the vice president, and the entire administration stand behind you. To the radicals assaulting them, doxing them, and threatening them, congratulations, we're going to work even harder to enforce the law. That's a pretty good statement there. As we dig deeper into this, ICE Homeland Security, they released a statement on this also yesterday. ICE officers in Minneapolis were conducting targeted operations when rioters began blocking ICE officers, and one of those violent rioters weaponized her vehicle and attempted to run over a law enforcement officer in an attempt to take him out. An act of domestic terrorism. You're going to hear the Minnesota governor say that is not true. I've watched the video, and that's exactly what was happening. It's sad that someone lost their life, but you cannot, as the officer went up to the vehicle, they tried to open the door to remove her. She drove off. Now let me get this right. Maybe you've read all of this by now, but her wife was videoing, and I believe she's the one that's using the vulgar words behind the scenes. All that's being filmed. From what I understand, this lady had agitated the officers throughout the day, trying to interfere with their job. It's plain and simple. Had you let the officers or complied to what they said, you would be with us today. I don't think there's anyone that can dispute that. The governor is saying that he wants to preparing the National Guard to take ICE out of the state. That's not going to work. It's in the law. They have the right to be there. What this all amounts to is we see the governor in trouble. He is not going to run for a third term in governor due to all that is happening with the fraud that is going on. This is a way to take over the news and let the spotlight be put on the ICE agents. Then what the real problem is these tens of millions of dollars of taxpayer money that has been used for the wrong way. They're trying to deflect, move it, and that's what they want. So far, it seems to be working out of the gate. Let's hope Americans realize what is happening there. Tom Holman, if you'll know him, he says, let the investigation begin. Now, also, as we look at this with data, in the last 12 months, it has skyrocketed 1,300% of vehicles used against law enforcement. And that is a weapon. If you try to hit somebody with a vehicle, that is weaponizing. Sad. Have you ever heard of a lady? Let me look at her name here. I'm trying to... Representative Robin Kelly. She's from Illinois. She has already started trying to impeach Kristi Noem, the head of DHS. It shocks me. We hate that. We also did get a statement. It's not all bad as we look at this from the Minnesota Police and Peace Officers Association. We have organizations similar to that in the state of Mississippi, and they go on to say the Minnesota Police and Peace Officers Association stands firmly behind law enforcement officers' accountability under law and the safety of every Minnesota community. And they go on to support law enforcement. So we'll see where all this goes over the next few days. What we don't want is rioting like we've seen before. And in some ways, you almost think that officials want that to some degree. It goes back to this. There was a picture taken in Minneapolis of 3 Somali daycare centers. The first one, as we look at, Taya was the name of it. In 2 years' time, it received $5.16 million. Nuna, another one, received $2.58 million in 2 years. And they were all boarded up. It's just, the fraud goes deep is what I'm getting at here as we look at all this information this morning as it comes out. Let's see here. They have confirmed that records have been fabricated in Minnesota as well. So all of this comes in to take the heat off. That's what it happens there. We had a horrible shooting in Salt Lake City. It was a funeral. 2 people are deceased and 6 others wounded. Isn't that horrible? We certainly hate that. That's a few of the headlines. There is so much more and so much deeper of what's going on across America this morning as you're waking up. Be careful and seriously, law enforcement are just like you. They have a job to do. Comply and nothing will happen. They're not going to hurt you. We'll be right back with your weather forecast.
On a hot day chasing crime in Meridian, to make a man thirsty, there's no better way than an ice-cold Coca-Cola to quench your thirst.
Or an ice-cold Diet Coke if you prefer that flavor.
No matter where you're at, stop by a local store and support that store and Meridian Coca-Cola. They're supporting us every day.
The Scotty Ray Report studio is sponsored by Environment Masters, providing hassle-free heating and cooling, plumbing, and electrical services since 19.
And welcome back. We do have an accident on Highway 496 this morning near Murphy Road. We have someone who's bumped into a deer in all of this fog. And y'all watch these deer. I had some run out in front of me 2 nights ago near Bunton Gun Road. They were in a hurry. Be careful. Look out for them. They would just dart out of nowhere. As we get into our forecast, let's do that now.
Your forecast is brought to you by EMEPA.
Record highs, record lows as we go to all of our information this morning. Back in 2019, this is 27 years ago, y'all. Time's getting away from us. High of 77. We're going to get real close to breaking that with a high of 76 today. In January 1942, it was 10 degrees on this date. As we look at what's going to happen, 76 today as we go through Philadelphia and Neshoba County into Winston. Should see somewhere around 75. We'll get to 74 as we go through Lowndes County. And by the time we reach the state line there at Tennessee, about 72. Down the river, we'll see 77 and almost 80 at Natchez, 79. On the Gulf Coast, we should see 71 for a high. The further west we go, the warmer it is. As we move into tonight's forecast, we start seeing those rain chances move in. 63 for a low in Meridian, but heavier rain could move through the Vicksburg, Jackson area northward there. And you could see a little bit there as you through Louisville tonight. Somewhere around 62 in Louisville. Might see a shower right there at the county line. Columbus should see 63 as well tonight. Now, as we go to Bama, this is what we'll see today. 75 in Demopolis, 70 in Birmingham, 71 over in Auburn for a high there. Not bad weather for Bama. This is what we're looking at. I told you this would change. We're looking at severe weather rolling in on Friday. Now, this should start off somewhere around noon on Friday and last until Saturday morning around 6 a.m. The Meridian area is now under a level 2, which means tornadic activity cannot be ruled out with these storms. We want you to be on high alert as we watch this. Damaging wind gusts up to 60 miles an hour and severe storms are very possible. Enterprise is the only portion of Clark County that's affected with this right now. As we get into this, is going to cut right across Lake Edens. Y'all be prepared for this in Jasper County. You are also under a level 2. As you get into Newton, full blown on level 2, and anything northward there from Macomb north is this. The Hattiesburg, Laurel area down to Gulfport will be a level 1, which means you'll have some severe storms and also some damaging wind gusts. Now, could this change a little bit more and go further south? It sure could. This will extend over to Tuscaloosa as well. Again, level 2. Friday, starting around noon, and this will be more defined as this storm gets closer to the timeline, but right now it's a big window from Friday at noon until Saturday at 6 a.m. We'll watch it very closely as the storm system approaches. We see that it's kind of normal here across the deep south of projected weather over the next few days. 76 today, and look at this rain as it moves in. A 90% chance of bad weather in our forecast for tomorrow. High of 73, low down to 62, and still rain lingering on Saturday. 60% chance of wet stuff. High of about 70. And you'll see a major drop in the temperature as this storm moves out, dropping temperatures to 50 on Sunday with a low of 27 Sunday night. Monday, ditto, the same forecast, 51, a low of 29. So we're going from 75, 77 degree weather to the 20s just like that. Means you'll be sniffling and watch what you're doing. cold weather. We're going to be shaking. Make sure to get your pets ready for what's coming. 55 on Tuesday as things start to slowly warm up by Wednesday at 58. And as we go another 7 days all the way through January 22nd. Look at this, Thursday the 15th. We're only going to make it to 46 for a high. We'll get back to the 50s and dip back into the 40s again around the 18th and 19th and stay steady at around 50 for a day or so. And then by the end of the month, there around the 22nd, we'll hit the 60s once again because rain back in the forecast once again. We'll watch all of this weather. Stay with us during severe weather. As we look at fishing times today, well, your best time to go by Parker Wholesale. They tell you to be out this afternoon around 3:40 until 5:40. A 2-hour window there of great fishing is what we have. A minor time this morning beginning around 9:30. You can get about 45 minutes worth of it there. Sunrise at 6:57 this morning. If you're headed to the deer stand, you can sit there till about 5:05 as sunset rolls in. Now, this is an average day of deer hunting. South wind 5 to 10, but gusty. Not exactly a day for a climber. 25-mile-an-hour gust. It's shoot house day. Major times to hunt today are 3:30 this afternoon through 5:30, so an afternoon hunt is perfect. You'll have an hour's worth of good hunting from 10 till 11 today. So however you want to do that, brought to you by our friends there at Wimberley Taxidermy. It'd be good fishing there. Let's go back over and take a look at live radar this morning as we do have a lot of fog out in the area, and we'll try to hurry there as we're getting ready for the next show. This is what we're showing here as we go to Doc's Toyota Radar. A lot of fog here around the Hattiesburg area. All of this area around Meridian is under a dense fog advisory through 10 a.m. this morning. Right now we're picking up the heaviest fog just west of Newton, starting in Lawrence, going northward there as we look at this, up towards just barely north of Decatur. By the time you get to Union, it's thick all of Neshoba County. Back over to Highway 493 on Highway 16 there. It's pretty thick there in areas of Highway 397 in Kemper County up toward Noxapater, almost all the way into Lake Teocata. We got a lot of fog in those areas. Back over to Kosciuszko. Nationwide, you see it. Montgomery, Alabama, you can't hardly find it. We got so much fog there. Here's the storm system that we've got coming, sitting out here in Oklahoma City, making its way toward Arkansas and Mississippi. We'll watch it, and of course a lot of snow back in Colorado in those areas. Already at 6:58, y'all stay with us. We'll bring all of this to you in just a moment as we get ready for the morning show. It kicks off at 7. Join us, won't you?